In this section of the video we're going to go over the low level version of the champion corrupting fever build. This character is level 38 and we are in standard league. The only reason this character is in standard league is because I knew the build worked, I just needed to figure out where we would pick up the gems and the gems rotation until certain levels, i.e. Act 6. I did that on a different character, but I missed the first 4 acts. So this character was leveled and we got to Act 4. As you can see here, by the quest state, we're just at the belly of the beast. I did stop off in Combs and the Grand Arena. I cycled between these because I got to about level 34. And I did 4 more levels bouncing between these 2 areas just so I could pick up the level 38 gems. Now all of the gems on this character have been picked up throughout the normal quest progression bar 2 gems, which I will go through now. So at the moment this character, let's get to the tree first. This character is following the guide, the POB that I've put together, which will come up later. So this is the standard level 38 tree, and this is the gear. Now all the gear on this character was either picked up off the floor or brought from vendors and then crafted only with the currency I found on this character. I specifically put the currency from this character in a different tab. I've now emptied the tab. So I just right clicked here, marked it as currency, and all the currency from this character, in fact everything from what this character collected, went into this one tab. So I didn't overspend, because obviously in standard I've got a ton of materials. So because we are now a life tap build, we have got a corrupted fever flask. This was picked up off the floor and then I augged it and got 1 charge from being hit. And these are just old colossal life flasks. The reason we have 4 life flasks is because we haven't found or picked up any other utility flasks, and I only ever use 1 quicksilver flask because the other quicksilver flasks go into boots. But what I did with the gear on this character, I found 2 orbs of binding. 1 was used on the axe and 1 was used on the boots, and I hit 20% move speed, so that was awesome. For the gloves, these were picked up off the floor. This was a 4-link brought from the vendor, and then I hit it with a low level fire res. I think it was fire res or dex. I think it was a dex essence, and this one was vended or picked up from the floor. I can't remember which, I'm so sorry. And again it was low level life essenced, and we got that. This was alked, this was vendor brought and alked, and this was picked up off of the floor, and 1 blessed orb was used from my standard stash because I needed it to be above minimum. It's an OCD thing. So I just used 1 blessed orb. It's the only thing I used out of this stash tab was 1 blessed orb, just to get it above 16 because my OCD. So this is the axe we've got. And in the axe we have got our corrupting fever and brutality. As you can see, it's level 1. The 2 gems that aren't part of the normal leveling progression for a duelist are Swift Affliction, which is 1 chance orb from the library, and Efficacy, which is 1 transmute orb from the library. In the helm we have got our Spectral Helix, which we've been leveling since we got it from the vendor. Same with the life tap and faster attacks. They were all got from Act 1 as soon as we were able to get them. Brutality again was just brought from the vendor. In here we've got our Ancestral Protector, which again was leveled from Act 1. Same with the faster attacks, same with Maim. This was brought from the vendor at a later stage, so Act 3 or 4, I can't remember which one. In our boots we've got Frostblink with the Hex Touch, Vulnerability, and a level 1 life tap, which we got as the quest reward, and then popped it in our stash and left it at level 1. In our gloves we've got our auras, which is Pride, which is currently turned off, Purity of Elements, War Banner, and Determination. All these were brought in the normal course of play. We've got Belted Deceiver Belt. This was got from my unique stash, but I checked PoE Ninja on the economy. Even on day 1 these belts go for 1C, so it's possible you could pick these up for a couple of alks or a chaos on day 1, so I didn't think that was too improbable to have on the character. So that's the gear and the passive tree at the moment. Let's just go and run the belly so you can see what this character is like around about mid-level. If you want to skip this section, there are chapters below. Here we go then. We as soon as we come across monsters, we activate our Corrupting Fever, and then our Spectral Helix. Just tap our life flask, get rid of the bleed, life tap for the curse, Corrupting Fever, and we drop our totem. I usually only bother this for bosses. Oh, we've got a level up, Pog. No, went the wrong way. Right, around here. So this is just a quick demonstration to show you that the build does work even at this low level. We'll drop the totem again. There we go. It's efficacy leveled up again. At this stage, you do need to keep hitting Spectral Helix, sorry, because otherwise you lose your Corrupting Fever. I'm not going to go through all the way through it. This character was literally made for this sole purpose. So yeah, apart from the rares, which at this level are quite tanky, I don't have the best weapon. You could probably get a much better weapon depending on the league mechanic and your currency. So there you go, that's a low level version, level 38 version. Hope you enjoyed this section. Let's move on to the next one. In this section of the Champion Corrupting Fever showcase, we'll do a T16 Crimson Temple Map. So before I do that, I just want to show you what my Atlas tree looks like so you get a gist of what is available. Whoops. There we go. So I've got the strong boxes here. I've blocked altars, or I've blocked content I don't like. This is not to do with profit, it's just what I want to do. I've got both the shapings there. Got some heist, got this essence node here, some shrine stuff, harbies, I love harbies, stream consciousness because I'm still hoarding scarabs in standard, here because I'm hoarding the offerings, more harby stuff up here, more shaping and the strong boxes there. Over here we've got Alva for specifically leveling my Inquisitor RF to 100. We've come over here for more Blight. I want lots and lots of Blight stuff. More Blight. More Alva. Some Essence. More Blight. Friends in High Places for Heist. More Alva. More Essence. More Harbies. And Shrines. And that's it. So it's a bit chaotic. There's no real plan here. I've just chosen things I liked, spec'd into it, and then Alva for kind of just XPing on my Inquisitor because Alva's kind of safe and it's easy to do. So that's the Atlas passive. This character in standard has been featured previously in the video. Nothing's changed. So we'll just go and show the map I rolled. It's a 20% quality and I've just rolled it for use on this character. So yeah, we're off we go and pop it in the thing. We are still leveling gems. They are mid-level, most of them now. Xang is level 14. I think some of these are maxed. I can't remember which ones are still leveling. I think all the auras are done. That's maxed. That's 13 there. CF is level 13. Life tap is 16. Pierce 13. Kinetic blast itself is 13. So the damage isn't that the gems aren't fully leveled, which may play a part in the DPS. So we're going to load the Crimson Temple. We're going to load a Syndicate. We're going to load Syrian Exarch for the currency, and then we're going to pop on Fortune Favours the Brave. I will note I'm expecting to die in this fully, or what I would call, for me, a fully juiced map, simply because my gem levels aren't quite there at the moment. So hopefully we won't, because that'll be a poor representation of the showcase, but we will see. So as soon as we enter the map, the first thing we do is pop on our Corrupting Fever, and because the levels of the Corrupting Fever dictate how much life is lost, we didn't lose that much, and this is going better than I thought it would. I'm hunting also, non-MF hunting the Apothecary card, of course. I'm on the wrong filter, so I will keep tapping away there and try to get the right one. There we go. Managed to keep CF up while we did that. Heal through that. I don't know what that was, but it was something. The filter I'm using is very specific for the things I want to collect in standard. So if you see anything and say, oh, why have they got that on there? That's a bit pants. Well, yeah, you'd be right. Again, it's specific to what I'm doing in standard for the things that I want to collect. There we go. Janus gets sacrificed. Oh, get the full. Nice. Corral just stays there. Onward. Go and get the shrine, or try and get the shrine, so that don't give it to the syndicate members. Get the Vile Reap going. There we go. Almost instant death. No, we don't want Corral in transport. Get the Quicksilver Flask going. Oh, Chaos Orb, nice. Haven't had an altar, but I haven't got any altar nodes either. I'm just natural spawns. Collecting glass blowers. I want 5,000 glass blowers. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll understand. If not, I would wait for the weekly update video coming out soon. Oh, check the altars. Orb of Binding, can Scorch. Ah, yeah, we'll just take that. Orbs of Binding I need 5,000 of, so most of the things die before they hit me. It's mainly the rares. Into the arena. I think I got possessed, so hopefully this isn't anything that's going to brick me. No. Just stand there, should be able to tank this quite easily. Again, damage is pretty low, probably because CF has dropped off, so just pop that back on again. There we go. Oh, we got the invitation. Just a quick check the boss hasn't dropped anything, my filter hasn't popped up. I always do boss checks, nothing else. I don't bother checking anything else. We lost CF again, so just pop that up and again. Kill that. Oh, stay out of that rampage. Over here, wait for the rampage to bypass. Just Frostblink between those. Another Orb of Binding. Check the chest for that elusive Apothecary card. Haven't had one drop ever. I don't own an Apothecary card from any source at the moment. Don't have a Mage Blood either. Hence my doing Crimson Temple every opportunity. I am putting together an MF build, thanks to the MF Academy Discord channel for helping me out. Shout out to those. Another Orb of Binding. Yep, we'll take that because the other one is a Meteors. I did that once and that was scary. My Inquisitor RF died from that because of all the flasks popping off in the middle of a King Harvey pack. I was managing to dodge them, and all of a sudden I got 3 or 4 at the same time, and I just couldn't quite dodge them. With throwing the fire traps, RF, and the King Harvey, plus all the meteors dropping, there was just too much stuff on the screen for me to track. So yeah, that was not a good idea. Taking some damage because of that exposure. And I haven't upgraded the Pantheon. I don't upgrade Pantheons on my characters until they get to 90, because at level 90, to me, that is when I know if I like the build. Woo, that was painful. Or not. Probably taking that altar with the exposure was not a good idea with Harbies. But never mind. We'll wing it. We've got adrenaline popping off. Try and get some of this loot off the floor, just in case we do die. Another orbital binding, some ults. Bleeding to death. I'm not corrupting a fever immune yet either, because I'm not going to sort that out until a bit later. There's a couple of gears bits I need to upgrade. That's a magnate, I think that was. Ooh, this is getting very high raising. I don't want to die because I'm almost level 90. There it goes. There it goes. I need thousands of ults to roll my heist rogue gear. So, alright, we managed to get through that. I keep using my jewelers and fusing orbs to force 6 links, so I'm constantly picking up 6 socket items to either use as sockets or to turn into jewelers. Or burning ground is so bad. Oh, and I've got a research to do. This is going to be interesting. This is where I'm probably going to die. I'm going to pick it up and I'll throw it away later. Just drop a portal. Still got our Quicksilver going. We've got it on reuse at end of flask use, with the hope that we generate enough charges to constantly have it up. Right, so where is... Oh, we got it. There we go. Drop a scarab. Yes, please. Don't care which one it is. Right, that was easier than I was expecting. Get through that. We've still got CF up. Nice to check that. Kind of get that shrine before they do. Drop a heal. Oh, that's it. Map is completed. 0 monsters. Boss complete. There we go. So that's the T16 map done. Rather shoddily. And a bit shaking. Thanks to the altars. Let's sort out some gear. And we'll call that the end of this section. So all of this slot should shuffle into its relevant thing. I'm hoarding invitations as well. So you can see. This is why I haven't got a lot of... various gear, because I'm just hoarding stuff for the collection rather than actually using it. That sits in there. What's that one? Demolition. No, that gets sold. Demolition again, sold. That just gets sold. And engineering. Ugh, it's worse than demolition. That's a magnate. That has rolled pretty good but not perfect. Sell all of this. There we go. There we go, and that's that section of this showcase completed. On to the next section. So in this section of the Champ Corrupting Fever, we are head to delve on a 302 depth node. As you can see in the bottom left there is the sulfur vents and the modifiers on that particular node. So let's crank it up. I have been delving on this character. I've got down to 275 by itself. So now we've gone down to 300 and we'll see what it's like. See if the build can do delve at 300. If we find any mobs, it'd be good. There we go. I have also just flipped a lot of my gems. So Kinetic Blast is only just level 1. Corrupting Fever is level 1, 20% quality of course. So you'll see the gems level up, which is going to make this a lot harder to do normally. There we go. There's all the gems leveling up. We'll grab those in a minute. Just want to be safe on this node. Oh, come on, rare. Bump, there it goes. Let's just clear the alleyways, make sure there's nothing going to come through when we're trying to clear the node. You never know what rares etc. are going to pop out. Right, so there we go. Make sure our corrupting fever is up and running. Pop the node. What we've got? Oh, creepy crawlies to start off with. Lots of cold. I'm not ailment immune at the moment. That is a significantly higher budget than I can currently afford in-game currency, of course. I do have my flasks automated, so hopefully they will pop off as and when. This is basically just moving around to make sure we don't die. Oh, Vile Reap is not up. There it is. Boom. Drop it down there. Hopefully get that one. Constantly being frozen and chilled. I haven't done my Pantheons yet either. I don't generally do my Pantheons until level 90 because at that stage I feel I know if the build's going to work in high level maps. If you do the Pantheons earlier than that, it may give you a false impression of how good the build is, in my opinion. So it looks like the node is starting to slow down. Again, please be aware that my gems are low level. I'll go through the current setup in a minute once we've cleared this node. This is in standard, but nothing I've got on this character. Oh jeez, I've frozen and chilled as a nightmare. Dev, if you're going to do this, possibly get some ailment immunity or purity of elements instead of malevolence, or just highest level gems. Don't flip your gems and then try and do depth 300 delve. It worked, you can see it worked. There we go. Right, just level out, just check. I want that, I want that. I don't have these switched on all the time, so right, there we go. Let's just pop back to the mine. Okay, so currently this character is level 88.5. All this XP has been done in Delve. Gear wise, we are running with a Curse Enemies Invulnerability on hit Hemophilia gloves. I used tainted currency to quality up, hit the 19 and stopped there. We've got a normal Poet's Pen. The attack speed on the Poet's Pen is irrelevant, it's only the spell damage implicit in there. As per the POB, we've got the Exsanguinate. As you can see, I've only just flipped it, so it's level 8, 20%. We've got Reap, which is slowly leveling at 19, no quality, and we've got a 2020 Brutality. In our helm, this is self-crafted by myself using Chaos Resistance essences of Envy, I believe they're called, and then the exotic currency to get the spell damage and cast speed, Eternal Version A, 30% quality from using pristine fossils. You can do this, you can use Helix as well, and then crafted with the 8% physical damage taken as fire damage. Standard Saffles frame, probably get a corrupted one with some decent implicits on it. I generally don't use corrupted gear, so that's that. I've got Frostblink in here and Life Tap. I'm not using Blood Rage because this character is going to be farming Blight maps, and Blood Rage on this character would be pointless because I'll be standing around not doing very much and AFKing. So because of that, I've swapped out Blood Rage for a low level Vitality. In my boots, we've got 25% move speed with res, life regen, chaos res from the explicits with crit chance, which is completely irrelevant because this character is, or the build, sorry, is resolute technique, so we can't crit. It's just a set of boots I had. I do need to make my own, and I will be doing that once I get some currency, hence going into Delve and farming some fossils. We have got Adoriani's Invitation. Make sure it's global physical damage because there's about 4 or 5 different versions of that. You want one with decent resists, and then the implicit you can just max at your own pleasure. As for the chest, it's not a great chest. This should be a gladiator plate for the higher armor value. We are stacking armor to a certain extent. I got 100% base from trade. I hit it with an alchemy orb, then pristine fossiled it up to 30% quality, and again used chaos resistance essences until I got something usable. Unfortunately, we didn't hit life on the prefixes. I ended up with 2 prefixes missing. I crafted a blocker and thwacked it with a exalt, and unfortunately got the reflect. By this point in crafting the chest, I'd used quite a lot of currency, nearly 5 divines worth of currency, and instead I just thought I'd leave it there and craft another chest plate at some point. So that's the gear. As for the passive tree, we are following the POB. We've got our unnatural instinct up here. We've got a glorious vanity Zabakwa. Not a great one. We've got some damage over time. Suppress is completely pointless because we're not suppressing. It's the only suppress on the build. Attack damage, again, completely pointless. Cold resistance, pointless. But we do have 10% spell damage. So the only 2 useful nodes on this one is the spell damage and the damage over time, plus obviously divine flesh. Up here we've got perfectly rolled legacy energized armor. You can still get energized armor, they're just corrupt, so get one that is as high as 20% as you can afford in your currency build. And then all of the passive tree is as per the POB. We've got Furious Assault, Ironbreaker and Master the Elementals on this cluster jewel with a double Pride Watcher's Eye that I had in my stash. The Impale is completely pointless. I do need to replace this once I get some more currency. And we've got a okay-ish 2-stat jewel with the Life and Global Fizz. Down in here we are just starting to fill out this large cluster jewel by taking Ironbreaker there, and we've got Battle Hardened over here, and in the back we've got Furious Assault. It's not perfectly rolled, but it will do. So that's the build, and as you can see we've just done depth 300 in Delve. On to the next section. In this section of the guide we're going to be running the map that is the sole purpose of this build in standard, and that is Blight Maps. Now, this character isn't the desired level of 90 plus for running a Blight Map, but I thought I'd include it in the showcase anyway. We're only a few XP bars off. I won't do Blight Ravaged Map because this current setup is not built for that yet, and I want some more passive points on my skill tree. So we'll do this tier 15 Blight Map. As you can see, there are all the rolls. I've done it with my standard oil enchants for Blight Maps, which is 2 ambers and then a clear for reduced cost of building towers and reduced monster movement, because I like to make sure that these maps are easy. So let's pop it in and see how we do. My ring annoyance are empowering towers have increased range and burning ground for meteors, although I've heard on TFT that this isn't quite working, or the DPS from the burning ground has been reduced. So we'll keep an eye out for that and see what happens. This is an underground river and we was hoping for a choke point, and it looks like we've got a really good choke point. So we've only got 2 points of access to the pump, both easily defendable if the towers spawn in the right place. So we'll have a quick look. We've got quite a few immune to lightnings. We've only got 1 immune to fire, none immune to tower damage, and 1, 2, 3, 4 cold, and 1, 2, 3 stun. So we can build our standard format. So we'll pop an empowering tower here up to level 3. Excuse me. We'll pop the fire one over there, just build a level 1 for now. We'll pop a minion tower there as our base. I know that's outside the range, but that's fine. So I want to get the stun ones in first, so I'll pop those up to level 3. We'll pop that one over there, and this is why I use the amber ones, so you can get a lot of towers built before the encounter even starts. So there we go, so that's our towers done. At this point then I now activate my CF and go searching for the first few, just to kill them and to get more tower points, waiting for the next spawn. because at this time the spawn rate isn't that fast. So we're waiting, and we're waiting. Just come down here. Has it spawned the back one? Nope. There's some more mobs. CF is still going, so we'll just kill them. Waiting some more. Waiting some more. Just keep an eye on here because you don't want this to spawn down that way. Oh, CF has dropped off. There's the adrenaline. Better in maps to have that, but equally good if you get some of those that just, for whatever reason, ignore your map. I'm aware of the ones down there, so we frost blink down, kill those, come check again. Nothing is spawned down here. We've got one right next to the tower, so we are going to build a minion one there. We haven't got CF up again because there's no monsters. This looks to be quite an easy one. It doesn't look like it's going to spawn any behind us at the moment. So I'm not willing to spend any more just in case it pops out the back. We'll have some juice to spend on towers. So at this point I feel comfortable in AFKing the map for a while. In case, well we wait. Ah, there it goes. We were waiting and it waited and we waited and we lucked out. So now we've got just about 1,000 points to kind of bump into this one. We'll do the same again. We'll put the 2 level 1s here. My neighbours have just decided to cut the grass, so apologies if you can hear that in the background. It is a very nice day where we are at the moment. Sun is shining, it's nice and dry, so it's an ideal day for doing gardening. Here comes the boss. We'll just Vile Reap that. There we go. Let's come back down here now. We should have enough to finish off our meteor tower. Haven't got any more towers spawned at the moment, so we're looking for a couple of slows. We've still got CF running, which is good. We've got Vile Reap back up again. Normally I'll just let my towers do all this work, but I'm feeling, aha, right, so I'll pop the cold one over there and then the earth one there. Again, I need to level 3, and then because nothing is immune to the minions, we'll stick another one minions there. Come up here, and that looked a bit closer than it was. Again, we'll drop another minion tower here. Now at this stage we've got a lot of towers proccing in a very small space, so this is where we could be in danger of a map crash. But now we should just be able to sit back and AFK, which is why I build my towers in this manner. I always have the Empower range. It's one of the best ones I can available, because if you have a lot of immunities, for example, I have had, although I've only had 2 or 3, you can get it where half of these are immune to, say, the fire tower. At which point, if you've got the meteor burning ground, some of them be immune. So it's just easier to look at what you've got and advise your strategy. Now the burning ground technically isn't part of the meteor tower, so it should work. The only problem with this part of the showcase is it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. You're AFK in the Blight map, but I have nothing to do, so I'm just kind of sat here waiting. Oh, is that boss going to make it through? Down here, is it going to make it? It's trying to. No, there it goes. Pop, gone. I lucked out on the placement. Underground River is a great base to have a Blight map on, because it's a lot of areas like this, and if you can get it, if you can proc it nicely like I have done here, you get a choke point and then you can just build around it. Ooh, that was close. Right, we're just going to move up and just clear out this area. Don't get too far from the pump because it'll deactivate your other towers. So we just run up here, clear that area out a bit. At this stage, with only a few seconds left on the clock, I tend to wander a bit, knowing that my towers, ooh, that was a bit shoddy on the FPS there. So we'll just keep an eye on this one, which is why I've got my Quicksilver Flask just to run back. It's only because I get bored of AFKing the maps at this stage. I just kind of, Unless a boss hits the pump, we'll be fine. So as long as we just keep running back and having a look. Boss is all the way over there. Why can't I get... There we go, there we go. Stuck. Those two things are blocking my access to that area, so we're going to have to wait for them to come through. I think I may have actually got them all. We'll find out. Yay! There it goes. Right, let's see what loot we've got. Again, a reminder that this is a very specialised loot filter for the way I play in standard. So I'll just click through and see what makes it through the filter. Always need to choose the chisels. Oh, there we go. Always click on the weapon ones. That's trash. For fusings, sockets and chromes. And if you have them showing, I don't know what your loot filter's like. Oh, Pog. I've already got it, but it's nice to know. A Blight unique. It's always nice when that happens. I'll pick up the Harvey bow. All of these other ones are that might be worth. The others are all bad bases. I need to go through and tidy up the base shows. There we go. There is a chance to get a Blight Ravaged map if you corrupt the map, the Blight map. That seems to increase the chance of getting a Blight Ravaged map. I have had them drop from a normal non-corrupted. Speaking of which, there we go, Blight Ravaged map racecourse. That's not a bad area. It's quite big and open. You kind of want that really on a Blight Ravaged map, in my opinion. Others would probably disagree. Breach, not a great mechanic at the moment, so I've heard from other people, but it's still there. Essence is always good. And some chromes. I burn through chromes all the time, always needing chromes. That's talismans, which I automatically hide. Right, and this is the last one. There we go. So that's all our chests. We'll pop out the map and see what we got. These are all on bad bases, so they can just stay on the floor. Alright, there we go. So that's what we ended up with. Let's have a look. That's going to be Soulbound. Yep, that is a cryophile. What's the rolls like? Bad. Almost max reduced lightning and reduced fire. Yikes. But max evasion, meh. Yeah, it's not worth it. That's the vendor trash. So the Harvey bow, cold resist, vendor trash, and mid-range tier 1 rarity. That might actually go, so we'll pop that in there. In this section we're going to go through the path of building that I have designed after many hours and days of testing and crafting and leveling. I have leveled about a dozen champion corrupting fever characters in the last couple of weeks. You can see, you've seen the previous one, the one in standard. This is the one in Crucible League. If I can get it to move, there we go. If I click on the right screen, there we go. So I'm currently level 88. This one hasn't had a lot of investment in there. We do have our Dorianis. We're slowly leveling up the quality of it. We've got a very nice amulet. We're qualitying up as we go. Sapphire's is there. Poet's Pen is there. This is just a random helm I got, which I need to do some crafting. We've got our hemophilias. Now the hemophilia should have curse with vulnerability on hit as a corrupted implicit, but they are worth 4 to 5 divines in Crucible. I crafted these myself, but they're not that great. So I think I crafted them, or did I buy them? I can't remember. But again, most of the gear on this character needs a thoroughly updating and changing, so it's not that great. There's a brief overview there. The axe in the background is just for the challenge of unlocking the 4th Crucible passive tree on a 4 link weapon, so not on a 4 pathway thing. I can't remember the exact wording. It's here somewhere. If you want to find it, you probably can. Is it that one? depth 4. That's it. This one. Fully allocate crucible particle jewels and items that have the following maximum depth. Depth 4. So that's what I'm doing with the axe. So that's that. As for the passive tree, we've got our Uber lab done. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're currently working on some we're coming through here to get this dual socket and then this dual socket, or I might just get the Max Miler node there and then work coming through to Solar Steel. Everything else on here is done as per the POB I'm about to show you. So without further ado, let's go on to the POB if I can dig it up. That is not the correct POB. There we go. Right. This is my path of building. Right, so here we go. Is it going to open? There it is. So we've got multiple trees here. We start with level 1. I've done it in levels and axe. So depending on where you are on the level or axe, you can follow that representative tree. So that's level 1, approximately level 11/12-ish, somewhere around there. Then we go into level 12 to 37. So again, take these in the order that you need them. 2, 3, 4. We go here where we assume you've got 4 links mostly, and then we start talking mana reservation and some life nodes, DPS. We get our RT, and the reason we don't do anything here is because some of the gear that requires us to fully go back to go into Corrupting Fever isn't available until level 60. So this matches up to the gear section I'll show you in a moment. So here's when we do our respec. As you can see, we do some passive point respecs. By this point you'll have enough respecs from doing the campaign to do this respec. I've calculated it, I've done the math, you will have enough. If you skip all of the non-passive point quests, so you're not doing some of the optional quests that are on the way, you might need to go back and do them. But at Act 9 you've probably got enough speed / DPS to just quickly go back and get the number, or you may have got some orbs of regret or buy some. It can be done. This is SSF and trade viable. I haven't tested this build in hardcore. If you want to run it in hardcore, you may need to take some more defenses, but that's your choice. We're going, then we hit mapping, level 90, 94, 97, and that's it. Now if I'm playing the league on one character, I can easily hit level 97 without an issue solo. For you people out there that like to pay for 5-way or XP boosts in whichever way, or your party playing or whatever reason, then you should be able to easily hit 100. If you're a person that wants to swap builds and only hit like level 90, 94-ish, excuse me, I got you covered there as well. So at endgame, this is how the build looks with fully mapped out tree and unique jewels, etc, etc. So that's the tree. We look at the skills, and this is set up the same to match the tree. So if we just pop the tree into Act 1, you go over to the skills, you go into Act 1, bam, there we go. We'll just get rid of that for a minute. There we go, and that's all the skills you should have, and it should, well, normally would show a DPS here, but we haven't set the item, so just going to there, there we go. You're doing a massive 14-point DPS. Depending on, none of these items have stats, it's just the base, and then obviously whatever you get. And then again for the skills, you go through Act 12, we change into Spectral Helix with War Banner and other stuff. Throughout the build I've put movement skill of your choice. Some people prefer using Flame Dash, some people prefer using Dash. I personally prefer Frostblink. You could use Leap Slam. On the build the attack speed isn't that great because it doesn't stack, but at this level you probably could use it. It'd be quite slow, but again, your choice. And then we continue through here as again, 4 links, respec, mapping and endgame, because the skills between mapping and endgame don't really change. In the endgame we're assuming you have a vulnerability on hit hemophilia gloves, and therefore you change your gems into a 4-socket Val Reap setup, and then add life tap to Corrupting Fever to increase that damage. That's the gist there. Items wise, again, like I said, they're not fully spec'd out. It is just the bases with some crafted attributes that you'll need to just keep up with your dex and intelligence until you get a really nice dual stat Ami. We get into, I'm not going to go through everything. At level 9, see, this is where you want your Poet's Pen, your Sapphire's Frame and your Haemophilia gloves. If you're in SSF doing this build, you might have to wait a little bit longer before you do the change. You have to farm those items. If you don't get those items, don't switch to Corrupting Fever. Just stay as Spectral Helix. It might be better to not do this as a league start in SSF, so you can grind the items up and then do it. Again, hardcore peeps, I haven't tested this in hardcore, so you'll need to do that yourself. Good luck. And then all the way up to 97 as per previously. Now if you hit on the note section, I've done my usual. We've got here Act 1, these are the links you're looking for, with what gems to get from what quests, and then what unique options might be good for leveling, and then what your links should look like at the end of the act/area, and that goes down. Act 2, you can pick up Belt of Deceiver, which is BIS for leveling until you get your Dorianis. You could quite happily leave Belt of Deceiver on. I did that on my Crucible one. I had Belt of Deceiver on all the way through, and then got the Dorianis, so you could do that. Again, the Hoop of All is quite a nice ring if you're leveling this as a second build. At League start, it can be quite expensive depending on the rolls. Death Rush is an option because we're a life tap build, so having that adrenaline from the Death Rush ring and from your Ascendancy would be quite good. And then here at level 9 you do require Poet's Pen, Sapphire's Frame and Haemophilia. The rolls at this stage don't matter as long as you have them before entering maps for the build. You'll be fine. And then we've got the links and setup there, and then we are looking for a Charisma Amulet Anointment to run all of the auras, and then here you go for Dorianis, then the Energized Armor, then the Zabaqua, and finally the Unnatural Instinct gem. I haven't filled out this crafting section because quite frankly I haven't got that far in my own builds, so apologies. Here's all the big ticket gems if you want to really spend a ton of currency on the build. Awakened, Anomalous, alt quality and awakened gems there. Curse on Hit ring if you don't want to get Curse on Hit gloves. Triple stat Watcher's Eye, Flesh and Flame jewels for the Bane Legends. They're not that expensive. It's not a great one, but Bane's levels is quite good. The expensive version, the real big ticket version of this, would be, where's Slayer? Not Bane of Legends, Headsman. Headsman is massive, but because it's massive, it's also multiple divs, which is why I haven't included it. Headhunter, Mage, Blood Ash is a star. By the time you get to this stage, if you have the currency to buy these items outright, then you'll probably have the knowledge of where you can min-max with various corrupted jewels, corrupted gear, better Flesh and Flame jobs, Watcher's Eyes, all that kind of thing. This build really doesn't have an upper limit simply because of the rare items you can get. With the corruptions on the uniques here, I've had a look, there's not that great corruptions on Poet's Pen, but you could harvest craft this quite easily, get the max roll for the spell damage. Attack speed does nothing for this build, but the spell damage implicit does, and then you can possibly use a harvest craft on that and all that kind of good stuff. So that's the POB, and on to the outro. Just a quick side note from the Path of Building section, this socket here is a floating socket, which means you can put what you feel you want to put in there. I have a low level vitality in there. I've seen some people put Blood Rage in there. I've seen some people put Berserk in there. I've seen some people really min-max the builds with auras and use level 4 Corrupted Enlightens, Awakened Enlightens, and have multiple aura setups with expanding their cluster jewel setup to include mana reservation clusters as well, and then have a 1-socket Vile Reap. It's entirely your choice. Just be careful when you're playing around with the gems and that you don't brick your build. Aside from that, I hope you've enjoyed this showcase. Again, kudos to Maxrollgg, which has inspired this build. I got the build idea from the website, which was shared by someone else on TFD as a Blight mapper, and as you've seen in the Blight map section, it is an absolute brilliant build for doing that specific content. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.